Live here at Donington Park. Welcome back to the brilliant, beautiful Donington Park circuit, where today we are going to be racing the best of these GT3 cars around this wonderful, wonderful circuit. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you know it. We are back with the Winter Cup. Currently riding on board with the second fastest man in this free practice session. He's been fastest pretty much the whole time until this man, Callum Jones, in the Bentley, managed to jump to the top of the timing boards. That Bentley, as we affectionately call it, the Boatley, in the hands of Callum Jones, has been doing brilliant things this season. And now with the LFM BOP on board for this championship, he is just going further and further. As you can see, the top three only separated by about 7/100ths of a second at the moment. That is one of the best things about these shorter circuits. There is less time in between the cars and more time for people to find. As Braxton has a moment there, a big moment for Braxton in the practice session. We've got 7 minutes left of this free practice session before we move into our qualifying session, and then an hour-long race which comes with a mandatory pit stop for fuel and tyres. The last couple of weekends we've had some server problems as Fernando goes off the road there. The last couple of weeks we've had some server problems in the configurations which have meant that we've had 10 times multiplier on the races. That is not going to happen today, ladies and gentlemen. We have quadruple, quintuple checked to make sure that that will not happen. So don't you worry, we are going to get the full normal race under the normal time multiplier of 1 times. So time will progress as it does in real life. As you can see, track is hot, 30 degrees Celsius. As Callum Jones tops again in that Bentley. Just 1/100th in it at the front. 10,000ths of a second separating Elias Fernando and Callum Jones in this practice session. Of course, this is not the session that matters, although I guess for some it does, if they have not had a lot of practice. But this isn't the session that matters. Qualifying is arguably one of the most important, but the race is where it really comes to life. Who can get to the end? Who can make the least mistakes? Who can have the most consistent pace, get their pit stop timing perfect, work out the best strategy with fuel? There's a lot going on here, especially at this short form Donington Park circuit. It is hard to get any sort of clear run. Very difficult to come out of your pit stop and not be in traffic. As Glayram at the moment, the man that we're on board with in the GT Performance Ferrari 296, is about 5 or 6 tenths of a second up. I think it's going to be about 4 tenths of a second when he crosses the line, but it's going to put him to first on the leaderboard by 0.18 of a second, a massive gain for him in this practice session, as cars behind are also improving. People like Kiko Gallo, a man who's been so fast this year in that Eagles Esports car, the 444, signature McLaren for him. He's improving, but maybe Donington, not his circuit. That is not the ideal line around that final corner. It does gain him a bit of time, and he goes to P7, just over 5.5 tenths off of the leaders at the moment. Fran Garcia is improving. This man is fast. We saw that. We saw that last time out. Was it last time out or was it in the Porsche Cup? I can't remember. Where I said he was fast and then he was. But this man, I promise you, is a threat. And he's showing that at the moment, currently just over 5 tenths up on his best time. And I must admit, a very nice looking car there, the 223 McLaren in the black, accented with the yellow. 6.5 tenths up now. Is he going to get caught out by this lap traffic of Torfs? He's still 8 tenths up. But I don't think Torfs is going to get out of the way, which is going to frustrate Garcia, who is just able to carry so much more speed through the corners. There we go, Torfs gets out of the way, and it's going to be a 9/10th improvement from Fran Garcia. He puts himself to the top of the timing boards by just under 4 4.5 tenths of a second. Hello, Fernando. How are you doing this evening, my friend? Good to see you fighting in amongst the top lot, at least so far in these sessions. Of course, with only 3 minutes left to practice, we have got qualifying coming up next, and that is a very, very important session for these drivers. There is no doubting that qualifying can make or break your race depending on when you're starting, especially in a 25 car grid that we've got this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure not to go anywhere. This is going to get pretty mental pretty quickly, I can tell you that much for free. Now, as many of you know, Hayden would normally be joining me in the box for commentary on these Winter Cup races. Unfortunately, he has something else going on this evening, and whilst I don't want to give away too much, there is going to be big news coming for TOGA Motorsport soon, hopefully. If everything this evening goes well, we are going to have some big news coming for TOGA Motorsport in the coming months and before the start of 2024. And if you want to hear all about that, you will want to make sure that you are in our Discord. It is one of the various links in our YouTube page. You can join it through our simgrid page as well. Just search TOGA Motorsport at thesimgrid.co.uk. Thesimgrid.com, sorry. We are available pretty much everywhere, and I promise you, you do not want to miss the news that could be coming TOGA's way in the next couple of weeks. I won't say any more than that, but I can promise you it is big. Drivers that are just inside this top 10 struggling to improve. Van Thalen in the 214 machine, the car that has been so competitive on so many occasions this year and in recent history as well, having come second at the 10 hours of Suzuka. Unfortunately struggling a little bit more here at the moment. P8, a second off the pace. It's not where he wants to be. He wants to be further up, but unfortunately the lap's just not coming together for him as of right now. A man who was improving was Mats Bjorkman. He's gone deep at that final hairpin. Here comes a Moore. He's improving. That doesn't surprise me. Sylvain Moore in the Phoenix E-Racing car, the 695. He has had a brilliant string of races recently in the Winter Cup. He's going to cross the line. It's going to be about 5 tenths improvement. 4.5. Puts him P5 as it stands, just behind Elias Fernando, who is in chat, I believe. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me this evening. Or this afternoon, or possibly even on a Monday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Just to remind you, we have got a qualifying session next up after this, and then we have got an hour-long race here at Donington Park to test these drivers to the limit. We've got a mandatory pit stop involving fuel and tyres, so strategy does come into play, and we do have the possibility of a red flag this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you how that works now in case you are new to TOGA Motorsport. We have live stewarding for all of our racing, and that means that if there are more than 20% of the grid involved in accidents at any one time in the first 2 sectors, there will be a red flag thrown. What that means is everyone slows down to around kind of 60 to 80 kilometers an hour, and they all form back up in the pit lane, and we reset the grid, and everyone goes again. We get a completely new grid, we do a new formation lap, and the race is neutralised and we start from the beginning. As Van Thalen, there we go, that's more like what he wants, P6 in this practice session. Of course, qualifying still to come. We only get one opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, for that red flag to be thrown. If, at the end of those 2 sectors, the red flag has not been thrown, then any other incidents after that, there will not be a red flag unless there is a serious server issue. So that is their one chance, and everyone flooding out the pit lane immediately. 25 minutes this qualifying session, but just instantaneously drivers flooding out of the pit lane. They are not messing around. They want to get their laps in and they want to get them in quickly. With a field of 25 cars, I can understand why, because there is not going to be a lot of spare room on this track, as you can see already. On board with Elias Fernando, he's a little bit of a way down this pack. He's probably about the 8th or 9th car in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, the 8th car, now the 7th. In this qualifying train. And interestingly, Callum Jones just slowing down. Letting quite a few of these cars through, because these guys are going to need to sort themselves out before they want to start their laps. At the moment at the front is Sergei Krasnov in the 599 car. Now he was a threat last time out as well. Sergei Krasnov had a decent run last time out at... It wasn't Paul Ricard last week, was it? Where was it last week? I genuinely can't remember. Anyway, Sergei Krasnov is going to be the first man to start the lap, but as you can see now, we have very slow traffic all the way through this final sector as cars try to find some space to do a lap. Cars are pulled over everywhere. Fernando goes back to the pit lane. Amor is weaving to keep temperature in his tyres. Stevens caught up in it. Jones is caught up in it. Everyone is trying to find space to do their laps, and there's just not any, really. The 444 car, if anything, of Kika Gallo has left almost too much of a gap and has caused those behind him, although it's possibly tactical. Let's go Callum, says WRL, Mr. OP. Indeed, Callum is one of my favourites on the grid as well, partially just because I love the Bentley, but also because he handles the Boatley just so well. I mean, it's a real talent to get that car to do what you want it to, because it basically doesn't like being a GT3 car. But he does a very good job of tiptoeing and making it work for him. Now, who was the first car to start their lap? I think it was Sergei Krasnov, wasn't it? Indeed it was. He's just coming to the hairpin. And Sergei Krasnov, I expect, will be the car that lays down kind of the mark in the sand. He's going to be the man that people aim to beat on their first laps, or on their second laps, because he is generally in that front half of the grid, but he's invalidated, so that's immediately just messed up whatever I was saying. The first man with a valid lap that's going to get to the line is going to be Glayram. He does a 26.9. Bjorkman does a 28.5. A second and a half off the pace for him. The 444 car of Kika Gallo. He crossed the line, but I don't think it was valid. He started again. Donkervolk now goes 9/10 off as Thel in the 246 Ferrari goes even closer, and now Amor goes closer again, and now Callum Jones goes closer again. Just 0.16 off of Glayram at the top with that 26.9. It's going to be interesting to see how many more cars can get into that kind of range, as Braxton is also up there with the top boys in the number 75 Porsche 992. And there are times flooding in all the time. Abita, Honda Abita in the 195 Mercedes AMG GT3. He had a tidy little race last time out. We were at Paul Richard last time, weren't we? Paul Ricard. It must have been Paul Ricard last time. I'm pretty confident it was. He's not had a bad lap, and the man that goes to the top, Nathaniel Fever PHX in the Phoenix E-Racing number 74 car by just 0.03 of a second. He tops the leaderboard now. As I say that, Sergei Krasnov, what did I say? In the 599 Porsche goes to the top with a 26.782, topping the leaderboards by just over a tenth. This is just insanely close here at the moment. Cars are being split by 0.05 of a second up and down the grid as Rombout in the number 15 F1 safety car Mercedes AMG GT3 goes 0.08 off the back of Sergei Krasnov, and we've still got cars to set laps. I mean, we've still got Van Thalen to set a lap, we've still got Fran Garcia to set a lap, we've still got Elias Fernando to set a decent lap, we've still got Kika Gallo to really set a representative lap, 0.5 off the pace at the moment. I mean, this can all change. There goes Elias Fernando. Just sets the exact same lap time as Callum Jones. 0.32 off the pace as it stands is Elias Fernando in the 23 McLaren. And if if this quali transfers into the race, this is going to be utterly insane. There's been a crash there with the RART car. Who was that that's just shot themselves up the order? I saw it happen, but I don't know who it was. Van Thalen is about to cross the line. Where does he go? He goes straight to P2. Just 3/4 of a tenth. 0.075 off of that pole position time at the moment. At 26.857. He's finding time, but so is Rombout. Rombout fighting over a tenth, and Fran Garcia goes straight to the top by 0.6 of a second. 26.1 from Fran Garcia. Keke Gallo crosses the line. What did I say about these two guys in the McLaren, the 223 and the 444 respectively? Crossing the line now, both 0.5 off, as is Harold Rombout in the number 15 Mercedes AMG safety car GT3. Crosses the line and is 0.5 off. Sergei Krasnov has gone back up there again, 0.5 off. Tell you what, the battle for pole might not be that interesting, but the rest of the field is oh so close, ladies and gentlemen. All the way from P2 to P17 is covered by 1 second. That is 15 cars covered by 1 second of pure, unfiltered, one-lap pace. And there are cars improving, there are people improving. Van Thalen is improving massively through the hairpin there. Lost a little bit on exit, but it's still looking like it could be a 2/10 gain for Van Thalen as he crosses the line, which would rocket him up the board as Nathaniel Fever in the PHX Phoenix E-Racing car in the number 74 goes back to that P2 position. Let's see, Van Thalen now immediately takes it away from him by 1/100th of a second in the Yentl Drive 214 in the Yentl Drive 214 car. Cars still improving further down the order. Callum Jones improving at the moment. Glayram improving at the moment. Keke Gallo improving by 0.3. He's going to cross the line and go straight to P2. Just 0.285 off of Fran Garcia's best lap time at the moment. And there's still 17 minutes of this qualifying session left to go, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to have lost my voice by the time we get to the end of it. Callum Jones improving massively. It's only going to be about 1/10.5 by the time he crosses the line. But that's going to find him a position for now. 0.615 off of the pole position time at the moment. But just a couple of tenths would find him on the second row of the grid. Harold Rombout is improving down the Craner curves into the old hairpin. 2/10 up at the moment. Fran Garcia 2/10 up and he goes round Fran Garcia. Fran Garcia has a massive incident there. And that might well shake his nerves just a little bit there for Fran Garcia. Harold Rombout improving. He's lost it there, unfortunately, coming onto the back straight. Nathaniel Fever improving. Callum Jones improving by quite a lot. But I don't want to curse him. I don't want to curse Callum because I love watching him drive. But he is. He's doing a solid job in that Boatley at the moment. Let's say that. We've got drivers further down the order improving as well. Jonathan Thell. The top 13 cars covered by a second. The top 17 cars covered by a second and a half. Jonathan Thell is going to cross the line. It's going to be a big improvement for him. Callum Jones has just one corner left for a lap that could see him to the front row of the grid. Jonathan Thell is going to cross the line, improves to 11th. Callum Jones is going to cross the line, and this lap is going to put him provisionally second on the grid, just a 10th off of the best time by Fran Garcia at the moment in the number 48 Bentley. What a brilliant lap from him. Nathaniel Fever is improving as well, 2.5 tenths. Sergei Krasnov is improving by a 10th. As well, Keke Gallo has started a new lap and is improving straight away. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. 15 minutes left of this qualifying session, and this grid order could still be flipped completely on its head. Nathaniel Fever coming through the final corner. Keeps it relatively tight on the power early. It's going to be about 1/10.5 gained, which is going to move him to P4 as things stand. Glayram is improving 0.2 of a second. And Moore is improving 0.2 of a second. Donkervolk is massively improving. Lost a little bit of time on the exit of the new hairpin there. He's only got the final corner to go, but it could be about 3/10 improvement for him there as Gleyram now goes up to P6 as he crosses the line. Donkervolt misses the final corner, goes straight on. That's unfortunate for him. That was a lap time that would have gained him quite significantly. George Stevens is improving as well, currently about 2/10 up in the number 100 Honda NSX Evo. For the Stevens Endurance Racing team, unfortunately that lap has gone away from him. Moore is improving 3/10 up at the moment in the other Phoenix E racing car, the 695. We've got Gleyram improving again in the GT Performance 116 machine. He's currently 3/10 up. God, this I swear the race had better be good, because this qualifying session is testing my ability as a commentator. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to keep up with all of this is pretty mental. But Gleyram now, he's almost 3/10 up. This would be a massive lap for him. This could be the second row on the grid as it stands. 13 minutes. Well, pretty much 14 minutes left to go, actually. 2.5 tenths down to 2 tenths now towards the final 2 corners on the circuit for the 116 GT Performance car of Eric Gleyram. What can he do round the final corner? This is going to be vital for him. Oh, it's not brilliant. He's lost all the time. Through the final corner, he's lost all the time. I tell you who isn't losing any time at the moment is Marco Esposito in the Sefreniti Inculo car, the number 82 Porsche 992. I feel like my pronunciation was pretty good there. If we've got any Italians in chat, tell me how I did there. I feel like that was pretty good. Currently pretty much 4 tenths up with just 2 corners left to go. Okay, maybe my Italian wasn't that great. 2 people just stopped watching the stream. I do apologise for that. Oh, I'll tighten that up for you. 3 tenths into the final corner. Oh, he's got it wrong as well. Too deep on the brakes, and he's going to lose the time. It's going to be a 10th gain. Not even that. Moves him up to P10 for now. Van Thalen is improving again. That lap's just gone invalid, and he's lost all the time, running into the dirt on the exit there. These drivers are really, really pushing the limit right now. They all want to find time, but finding it is very difficult to do at this track. Track temperature still sits at 30 degrees. Track has optimum grip now. So if there is going to be a time that these cars can go faster, it is going to be right now. The track isn't getting any cooler, but it does have the best grip that it has had all session. Kika Gallo improving in the 444 car down the Craner curves. Watch out for this man in the 444. He's only about 3 tenths off of the pole position time at the moment, and this could well be a glory run from Kika Gallo. Almost 3 tenths up now. Oh, he's gone off. Oh, he's gone off through the double right-hander. It's an easy mistake to make. Van Thalen starts another lap as well, as does Marco Esposito. I'm going to need to get myself some water whilst we're waiting on the grid, because my voice is starting to slip away already. But I'm going to push through it, because this is insane at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't take my eyes off of these battles. On track, Esposito, massive improvement. That launches him to P5. Just over 3 tenths off of the pole position time at the moment. That is a massive improvement for him in the number 82 Porsche 992 car. Massive improvement for him, and he immediately goes around at turn 1 and drops it into the wall. Unfortunate for him. Harold Rumbout improving down the Craner curves through the old hairpin in the number 15 car. But the racing is mental at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we are not even the racing, the qualifying is mental at the moment. Kika Gallo, again, massive improvements for him. Takes it a little bit easier through that double right-hander onto the back straight this time. Not risking going off the track. It is not worth it for him to risk that right now. Callum Jones is improving, but I don't want to put any sort of curse on that lap. Kika Gallo improves. 2 corners to go, both hairpins. This first one is clunky, it's long. No camber to help you. It is a slow corner. The second one is not any better. Downhill, off camber, late apex, but you've got to hug the inside. Kika Gallo fumbles it wide. It's not going to be an improvement for him across the line. It isn't. Van Thalen's gone off. He's gone back to the pit lane. Still 9 minutes left in this qualifying session. Gleyram is improving in the 116 car again. Callum Jones showing us a yellow flag. I think he was just getting out of someone's way. Kika Gallo back in the pit lane. And again, still the top 14 cars separated by a second. Gleyram on a massive run here. Down the back straight he goes. As Nathaniel Fever starts a new lap. The 116 car of Gleyram. He's got a massive run at the moment. Into the final 2 corners. This could be huge. Just the final turn left to go. Still improving, but losing a little bit of time. And it is far better through there that time. Who's just rocketed themselves into the top lot? I think it was Elias Fernando that had just improved, but it doesn't matter because Gleyram immediately goes to P6 and vaults Van Thalen and Fernando all at once. As I say that, Fernando is improving again. Esposito is waiting to start a new lap. He is about to start a new lap. Fran Garcia is out on track and improving. Nathaniel Fever is back in the pit lane after that lap has gone awry. Harold Rombout is improving in the F1 safety car. Elias Fernando is improving in his car as well. Callum Jones misses the chicane at the bottom of the track. Back to the pit lane. He'll go again. Fran Garcia, I don't think he can improve on what he's done. I think he's already extracted the maximum from that car, but we'll wait and see. Elias Fernando onto the back straight, improving still, 0.2 of a second. Fran Garcia goes around, again, that same corner. Almost 0.2 of a second now. Amor also improving by 0.2 of a second. The top 11 covered by 0.6 of a second here. This race is going to be mental. This race is going to be mental. Amor to cross the line. He's going to gain up to P7 now. Elias Fernando going to be crossing the line in the next couple of seconds as well. Can he get a better run out of this final corner than he's had previously? Oh, he gets a monster run compared to what he's had previously. It's going to be a 1.5 gain. He finds one position up the grid to P8 for now. Kika Gallo is improving. Again, this double apex right-hander is coming up and it's been plaguing him so far. He's not been able to improve through this corner the whole qualifying session. Can he this time? This time he does, onto the back straight, and it is an improvement through that double right-hander. Almost 0.2 up. 5.5 covers the top 11. Kika Gallo's lost it through the chicane, hit the wrong curbs, has lost the time, currently a 10th down. Can he find anything in the final corner? He can't brake late because you just don't stop in time. He's got to brake when he normally does and just try and extract more speed. No, he goes straight on. And it's to start straight away another lap. Kika Gallo straight back on it in that 444 car. Nathaniel Fever pulling over, weaving a little bit. Letting some cars through before he starts yet another lap as well. We are into the final 5 minutes of qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second covers the top 14 cars. 1.5 seconds covers the top 17 cars. 2 seconds covers the top 21 of 25 cars. Nathaniel Fever starts his lap here in the number 74 Phoenix E-Racing car. Nothing going for him at the moment, and that lap's immediately invalidated. Fran Garcia is still driving around with all of that damage on the front of the car. Does he know he's got all of that damage on the front of the car? Because it is pretty crunched up. and he's not able to find any time. He needs to go back to the pit lane, really, but I don't think he'll have enough time to come out, heat up the tyres, get the fuel load down, and go back out again. And Callum Jones has improved here. I've missed it, but he's now only 0.12 off of that leading time, so he's found a little bit in the last couple of minutes that I've managed to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, get your predictions in now. Who do you think is going to take pole position here? Just drop a message in chat. Let me know who you're thinking. Van Thalen is improving massively. 0.2 of a second at the moment. Kiku Gallo has found a little bit. Callum Jones has not. Other drivers improving. Ander Obita. Here we go. It's going to be 0.6 of a second. This is going to be massive for him. This is going to spring him up to P... Was that lap invalid? That lap was invalid for Ander Obita. He needs to go out and do a lap like that again, unfortunately now. Van Thalen into the final two corners. Fran Garcia is somehow finding time in a car that is as scuppered as the front of that McLaren right now. But Van Thalen, here we go, into the final corner. And it gets blocked by Thel. Thel starting a lap. Completely obstructs Van Thalen there in the Yentl Drive 214 car. He will not be happy about that. A 2.5 3/10 gain that was looking to be, which would have put him onto the front row, or possibly at least the second row. And I doubt Van Thalen is going to be happy about that one. That was some atrocious blocking there from Thel. It was just the wrong time to start a lap. Just the wrong time to start the lap. Van Thalen still improving, but he's now in the dirty air and struggling. About 2.5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Ladies and gentlemen, do not move anywhere after this. We've got an hour-long race, and it is going to be absolutely crazy. And, I mean, yeah. I mean, look at the gaps. You can see them on screen live, as can I. And if you don't think that this is going to be a crazy race after a qualifying session like this, then you were completely wrong. Who's just moved themselves into the top lot? I think it might have been Sylvain Moore who's just moved himself up. Or was it Esposito? It was Marco Esposito, I think. Because Van Thalen is suddenly 9th. And a second covering the top 14 now. Callum Jones, I think that's going to be the end of his qualifying. He's not going to have time to go out again. That's going to be it for Callum Jones. He's now at the mercy of everyone else. Van Thalen improves. He's now 3rd on the grid, 0.17 off the back of the pole position time at the moment. Cars are improving everywhere, but a lot of them are invalidating. Sylvain Moore, he's going to get one more chance. This is going to be his final chance at a qualifying lap now. Starting in the 695 Phoenix E-Racing car, the opposite to Nathaniel Fever. Oh, sorry chat, just getting something to drink. Because this has been absolutely crazy. I think this has been the most I've talked since, well, probably since the last qualifying session, I'm not going to lie to you. Because these qualifying sessions are generally quite crazy. 8/10 now covering the top 14. And that is because that means the man who was in 14th has improved, and it was Thel who's improved up to 13th now. And Rombout's improving here, just 2 corners left to go. 2nd to 5th, all in the pit lane. I don't think there's going to be any threat now for Fran Garcia. I think he's going to have seen out the podium, the pole position spot here. 15 seconds left to go. There's enough time for Rombout to do another lap if he needs. And Moore is a 10th up. At the moment, that would launch him to 5th on the grid from 8th, where he is at the moment. He needs to find a little bit more through this final corner. Brake a little bit later, turn in a little bit harder. He's made it work for him. He's lost time on the exit this time, but he's still going to find... Oh, he doesn't quite find a position. Still 8th on the grid, and Amor pulls over. He's not crossed the line in time. He is going to stay 8th. A lot of other cars in the pit lane. Jonathan Thell still out and improving as it stands, only half a tenth. A Beta crosses the line, goes P16, 1.2 seconds off the pace as it stands. Jonathan Thell still on a lap. Him and Nick Parks, I believe, are the only ones, and I think they are right behind each other. Jonathan Thell not able to find anything at the moment. Nick Parks is going to be the first man to cross the line to finish his lap. Does he find anything out of this final corner? Not this time, and a Beta isn't... sorry, Thell isn't going to either because he's gone way deep. And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen, for qualifying. We have now got a 1 hour race coming up straight after this. So be prepared for that. It's going to be pretty mental. Your pole sitter, Fran Garcia. There we go. Fran Garcia in the very dented McLaren down the end. Then it's Callum Jones in the number 48 Bentley, followed by Van Thalen in the 214 Lamborghini. Then we got Kiko Gallo in the 444 McLaren, followed by Nathaniel Fever in the Phoenix E-Racing number 74 Ferrari. Esposito in the number 82 Porsche 992 lines up 6th, with Glayram in the 116 GT Performance Ferrari lining up 7th. Then we've got Sylvana Moore in the 695 Phoenix E-Racing sister car lining up in P8, with Elias Fernando in P9 in the number 23 McLaren, the third and final McLaren on the grid for this evening. That's a complete lie, there's 2 more down the bottom. Then we've got 2 Porsches, the number 75 of Braxton and the number 599 of Sergei Krasnov in 10th and 11th respectively, with Harold Rombout in the number 15 Mercedes AMG GT3, the F1 safety car, the CrowdStrike sponsored machine in P12. Then we've got Jonathan Thell in the 246 Ferrari, followed by Puntos RART in the 317 Ferrari. Then we've got Donkervolk in the number 51 Ferrari, lining up 13th, 14th and 15th respectively. Then we've got Onda Zabita in the number 95 Mercedes AMG. He had some promising races recently, but unfortunately the pace not showing so much here in Donington Park today. Lining up behind him is Bjorkman in the number 56 Ferrari, followed by the solo Aston entry for this race, the number 5 of Torfs for the Belgian race. I believe that's for the Belgian racing team. No, it's not. Bertie Torfs, not this time. Then we've got George Stevens in the number 100 Honda NSX Evo, lining up P19, with Nick Parks in the number 36 BMW, lining up P20. Then we've got the sister RART car of Nackart, the 888 Ferrari, lining up in P21, with Martins in the number 2 Ferrari, lining up P22. That's quite satisfying, 222. Then we've got Hurst lining up in P23 in the 570 McLaren, followed by the 50 McLaren of Darrell Longaname, and rounding out the grid in P25 is the number 13 Bentley of Mariano. We have got 55 seconds left on the countdown clock until we get started with our formation lap here, ladies and gentlemen. Fran Garcia, the front of that car still doesn't look fixed. I'm going to assume that it has been, and that is just a glitch in my game, because he should have had a new car when he loaded in from the pit lane. It should have fixed that damage immediately. We've got an hour-long race coming up. We've got mandatory pit stops. We've got penalties already applied on the grid, ladies and gentlemen. That is right, we have had penalties come through already. 5 seconds for Harold Rombout. 5 seconds. Let me see what these are for.
20 seconds.
5 seconds for Harold Rombout is for causing a collision with car number 888, meant to be applied at the start of the race. Car number 317 has a 5-second penalty. That's the RART car of Puntos. That is for causing a collision with car number 888. That poor number 888 car, the other RART car, is having a bit of a shock in qualifying. And car number 5, which is Bertie Torfs, has got a 5-second penalty for causing a collision on an outlap with car number 23. And the 23 car belongs to Elias Fernando, the one and only. So it is going to be interesting to see as we move away now for the formation lap. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We have got an hour of what is going to be brilliantly intense racing in 31-degree heat around the brilliant Donington Park. One of the greatest British tracks. We are racing the longer version of this track with the extended hairpin. We've got a grid of 25 cars qualifying. The top 14 cars were within 0.8 of a second of each other. I mean, this race could go anyone's way. There's going to be chaos, there's going to be crashes, I can guarantee it. There's going to be overtakes, there's going to be strategy. And it's all going to start with a rolling start for the green flag in about a minute and a half's time, I would expect from now. Garcia taking it slow. The natural heat on the track. 24 degrees in the air, 31 degrees on the track. I mean, it's hot, so these guys do not need to do any sort of speed to warm up these tyres. They will be cooking themselves as it is. Coming into the final sector now is Fran Garcia in that 223 car. And we will get running in just a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. Because this is about to be crazy. I can guarantee you that much for free. Generally, I use Helicam for starts. Gives me the best view of everything that's going on up and down the grid. Set it around P4 or P5 means you get the view of all of the cars at the front and some of the cars at the back. Here we go. The 2x2 formation is go. People lining up in their correct spots now. Getting to 70 kilometers an hour. Are we missing someone, or is Van Thalen not in the right place? I don't think Van Thalen's in the right place. Oh no, he is. Fran Garcia was further ahead than he should have been. Here we go, 2x2. The start line is early here at Donington Park, so get ready. And we are... they're held for a while. We are green at Donington Park. Here we go. The hour timer starts counting down, and so far it is clean into turn one. A difficult corner. Van Thalen looks to the inside, already looking to make a move for P2. Nothing happening at the front there. Van Thalen looks like he's going to go for it, and I think he may have made that move down the Craner curves. We've got some battling going on here. Harold Rombaugh manages to hold that in a battle with Brackstad. I don't think we've lost any cars off the track yet. That is a lie. We've got one off. It's Bertie Torfs. He's going to rejoin, and he's going to be safe for now at the front. Van Thalen has managed to get past Callum Jones in the Bentley for P2 as it stands on the road. Kika Gallo all over the back of those guys as well. Further down the order, we have got position changes going on just outside the top 10 and just inside the top 10 as well. As Sergei Krasnov now already a second behind these guys in front. He needs to get back to these guys quickly, otherwise he's going to lose the tow, and that is going to be vital around this track today. The gaps at the front are tiny, and Sergei Krasnov, who's that cutting the chicane up ahead? I think that is that's a Moore in the number 695 Phoenix E-Racing car who's cut that chicane. Not gained any time from it. He's lost a lot of positions actually, as the fight at the front is still raging on, just 0.3 of a second. And only about a second and a half separating the top 4 cars at the moment. Across the line, the gap is 0.5 of a second, 0.3 further back to Callum Jones. Nothing going there at the moment, unfortunately for him. And Moore comes into the pit lane. Has he made a mistake with fueling, maybe? The pit window isn't open yet. Won't be open until we are 20% done with the race. Oh no, and Moore had a drive-through. So clearly he jumped the start, had a drive-through. He has served that. It is cleared now. Kika Gallo already on the edge of that 1 second barrier. The problem is, with temperatures this high, is it worthwhile being in that 1 second range, or are you better off staying further behind and having cooler tyres to put theoretically better laps in? Van Thalen taking the fastest lap on that opening lap, however that is going to tumble down now that we are in full race swing. Harold Rombaut, a massive gainer on that opening lap. He currently sits P8. No, he doesn't. He sits P9. Elias Fernando sits P8. In the number 23 car, he's made some positions on this opening lap, as has Harold Rombaut. Nathaniel Fever, not so much. Those guys getting a little bit spread out from the cars ahead as Van Thalen is... Oh, there's been a mistake from Fran Garcia. Van Thalen looking to the outside towards turn 1. Are we going to see an overtake here? I don't think we are. The McLaren is slightly better in a straight line. The Lamborghini of Van Thalen, he's going to try and hold it around the outside, or is he going to go for the dummy and pull the switch back on the exit down the Craner curves towards the old hairpin? He's not managed to make that one work out for him. He had to look out a little bit for Callum Jones behind him. The Bentley thinking he may have had an opportunity to just have a sneak up the inside like Van Thalen did to him on the opening lap, but nothing going there at the moment, unfortunately, for Van Thalen in that battle for first. Further behind, we've got a battle between Glayram and Esposito for what would be P6 on the road as it stands. These guys very close to each other. Callum Jones right behind Van Thalen now. Nothing going there either for him at the moment. And everyone continues to survive. This has been very, very clean on what is such a tight and twisty track, as Van Thalen takes some of that advantage out of Fran Garcia. Kiko Gallo has a moment out of that second to last hairpin. That has allowed Nathaniel Fever in the PHX car, Phoenix E-Racing, back into his slipstream again, which is something Nathaniel really needed. The gap is 4/10 across the line. I am looking at what's going on elsewhere as Nick Parks and Mario Mariano are having a fight here. The two BMW M4s on the grid. Oh no, one of them's a Bentley. Boatley, yeah, go. That's Mariano. He's not going to take that position this time. He's now going to have to look out behind him with Martins in the number 2 Ferrari also interested in having a look at that spot. Kiko Gallo takes the fastest lap last time out at 27.080. That is a very fast lap from him. Looking back towards the front of the field, we've got a little bit of a battle here. Eric Glayram not able to find a way past Esposito at the moment, which is disappointing for him, I'm sure. As now we look towards the front, and Callum Jones has dropped off. He's made a mistake through this middle sector. He's now over a second behind and losing out on the slipstream, which is always dangerous when you've got the McLaren behind you, especially the McLaren of Kiko Gallo, who we know is incredibly, incredibly fast. Yeah, it's been an invalid lap for Callum Jones. And I mean, that could be massive for him. That could be massive for him. Drops him out of the... Oh, as Glayram has managed to get past Esposito. Possibly a mistake at the final hairpin there. The penultimate hairpin, sorry. But he's managed to get through. Has the number 116 Ferrari on the number 82 Porsche. Now Kiko Gallo looking. Van Thalen in the Yentl Drive 214 Lamborghini has taken the new fastest lap. A 1:26.755. That is very, very quick, I must admit, as Torfs gets past Martins. And has gotten past Mariano in one fell sweep. Clearly those guys had a little bit of coming together at the final hairpin and have cost each other time. Van Thalen right on the back of Fran Garcia now in what looks like a broken McLaren, but I can promise you isn't from the lap times that he's putting in. Oh, Fran Garcia goes off a little bit. Van Thalen maybe sniffing an opportunity here. Nothing going as it stands. Van Thalen searching for a way past Garcia. He tucks into the slipstream. The Lamborghini not necessarily brilliant in a straight line.
JJ Oily is a legend and subscribes to the channel.
Thank you so much. I don't think that showed up on the stream. I hope it did, but thank you so much. I believe that was JJ Oily, or Ollie, for subscribing to the channel. Thanks a lot. Thank you for being here, my friend, and thank you for supporting us here at TOGA Motorsport. I hope it did show up. Although it's not looking like it did, which would be disappointing. Unfortunately, we have been having issues with our stream bits at the moment, but thank you so much for subscribing and supporting us here on the TOGA Motorsports channel. Oh, yellow flags here! Rumbout and Thel have come together, and Fernando! It's Elias Fernando is the other car involved there. What has happened? What has happened? Elias Fernando, we're going to have a rewind here, see what's gone on. And there has been contact. Oh, just no room there for Rumbout to try the move. Elias Fernando performs a nice little spin turn, doesn't involve anyone there, and Rumbout and Krasnov have now come together as well. More yellow flags. Rumbout just causing all sorts of mayhem at the moment. And again, Rumbout on the inside, car on the outside, and Rumbout again has had a major part to play in a collision on track. Let's look up here now. Puntos RART car, just 3/10 behind, looking to make a position on Braxton, who's gone off. This could be an easy position here for the RART car, the 317 Ferrari. Braxton leaves the door open, and the RART car takes that place onto the back straight. And now Braxton is going to have to be looking behind him for Donkervolk as well. Donkervolk looking to come through on Braxton. Braxton making some very close to reactionary movements there in the braking zone. Kiko Gallo dropping off the back of these guys in front by about 4/10 a lap at the moment. He needs to find a way back into their slipstream, because at the moment it just is not working for him. That is unfortunate. And we got cars. There's been contact here. There has been contact here. What has gone on? Down into the hairpin. There has been contact between possibly Donkervolk and Fernando. Donkervolk breaks late, sends it up the inside, hits the RART car. Braxton and Fernando both take positions off of those cars. And Donkervolk, I hope, has let the RART car have that position. Indeed he has. George Stevens now involved in that battle as well. Kiko Gallo is going to have to be looking behind him. He's got Nathaniel Fever within his DRS. Just completely the wrong sport. Completely the wrong motorsport there. As Elias Fernando now looking on the back of Braxton. Samuel Braxton. Nothing going for Fernando at the moment, but he is going to try everything, believe you me. 2/10 is the gap. But still nothing going at the moment. Callum Jones has taken the fastest lap with a 26.695, taking the fastest lap by about half a second last time out. And there's been an incident at the back. 36 car of Nick Parks and Bertie Torfs. The pit window is now open with 49 minutes left on the clock. That opened with about 50 minutes left to go. Bertie Torfs rejoins. Doesn't affect anyone's race there. Nick Parks rejoins ahead of him. I'm assuming Bertie Torfs has let him rejoin ahead of him there. As Glayram now takes the fastest lap at 26.677. And these guys ahead are now going to have to be watching out for the GT Performance 116 car, who is starting to make some progress in this race in terms of pace. Van Thalen still all over the back of Fran Garcia, but you've got to think, how much is this wearing his tyres out, being in that dirty air? These GT3 cars do cause a lot of it, as Harold Rumbout has gotten past the other RART car of Nackart. However, he's got a 5-second penalty, and probably more coming his way. Elias Fernando still looking to get past Samuel Braxton. He's going to have to watch out behind. He's got the Puntos RART car. Braxton goes wide, and Fernando looking to make a move. He's going to have the inside line for the next right-hander, and that is a move done for Elias Fernando, moving himself up into P10 ahead of Samuel Braxton, who is not having the race that he would have wanted at the moment. Gained positions and is now starting to drop them again. Callum Jones has made another mistake this lap. Again now, almost a second. The gap in front of him. He's been able to stick with these guys, but occasional mistakes, dropping that Bentley a little bit further than he would want. The gap at the front, just 0.2 of a second. Fran Garcia and Van Thalen, respectively, fighting for this top spot in the race at the moment. George Stevens being overtaken by Bjorkman there, as Braxton is forced wide again, and Donkervolk has gotten past him. So is the Puntos RART car. I don't think Bjorkman's going to be able to make a move. George Stevens hits Braxton. George Stevens goes around and is hit immediately again by Krasnov, who realistically could have avoided that. But oh well. And Callum Jones is a second behind. That lap's invalid. Callum Jones has gone wide. He's lost that time, and Kika Gallo has been invited back in. And look who is joining this party, Eric Glayram, in the number 116 GT Performance car. He has gotten onto the back of Nathaniel Fever now and is pumping in brilliant, brilliant lap times. He was the fastest man last lap. He is the fastest man on track overall in terms of the fastest lap in the race. He's going to be one to keep an eye on. He's starting to turn up the heat. Van Thalen looking, nothing going as it stands. Callum Jones has made another mistake, now 2 seconds off the back of these guys. Fran Garcia putting little jinky defensive moves to the inside, trying to stop Van Thalen from going for anything. Van Thalen closes through the corner. Garcia takes a later apex, gets a better exit. Garcia takes the fastest lap overall, 26.657. But Van Thalen is able to stay with him. 5/10 the gap. Glayram looking for a position, but there's not one coming as Krasnov gets overtaken by Sylvana Moore. .5 is the gap in front of Glayram at the moment, as Kiko Gallo is dropping out of that 1 second gap to Callum Jones in front of him, and Van Thalen is starting to drop a little bit on Fran Garcia. Jentel Van Thalen needs to have a brilliant final sector here to be able to close this gap back up. At the moment, Garcia starting to just get away from him a little bit. Kiko Gallo back inside that 1 second gap to Callum Jones as well, who is now 2.5 seconds off the leaders. And I have a funny feeling we might have another fastest lap coming from Fran Garcia here. Indeed it is, a 26.572. That is a monster lap time. Grew the gap by 0.3 of a second to Jentel Van Thalen last time out. 0.5 still separates Glayram and Nathaniel Fever. Those guys running close to identical lap times last time out. Only 100th of a second separating their lap times the last time they crossed the line. Looking further down the order, George Stevens getting past Sylvana Moore now. As also yellow flag for Juan Martins in the Senna racing car. He's fallen down the order. What's happened to Glayram? He's had a bad run. He's lost half a second to Nathaniel Fever in the last couple of corners in this first sector. It's unfortunate for him. The first down to 24 cars now. That is unfortunate, but we've got Juan Martins in the pit lane. Who's going to pull the trigger first at the front? I have a funny feeling that it'll be around the half distance mark that people decide to pit in and make the change that they need. I don't think anyone's going to go for an extreme strategy here. Van Thalen gaining time in the final corner. The lap's invalid, but it's going to be quick. Indeed it is, although Fran Garcia's last lap was also half a second slower than his best, as Bjorkman has gone past. Donkervolk has gone round. Donkervolk has gone round. What's happened to Donkervolk? Through the chicane, dropped it on his own. Dropped it on his own as Donkervolk. He's lost a bunch of positions there. Bjorkman, Braxton and Moore, Stevens, Krasnov has all got past him. Donkervolk now down in P17. Van Thalen at the front though, still 0.5. That gap stands at. Jentel Van Thalen just managing to stick with Fran Garcia. It was close, but no luck for Fran Garcia in getting that gap closed. .4 now the gap. Glayram has managed to get back within a second, and Kiko Gallo has managed to get back within a second of the two cars that they are fighting respectively, Nathaniel Fever and Callum Jones. 0.4 still the gap. Van Thalen just searching for a way through. Fran Garcia a little bit wide at the hairpin, but he gets a better exit because of it. And again, Garcia goes a little bit deeper. Gets a better run from it, but Van Thalen is still so close behind. Fran Garcia cannot afford a single mistake right now. Any mistake that Fran Garcia makes will be pounced upon by Van Thalen, and any mistake that Van Thalen makes will allow Fran Garcia to get outside of a second. Neither of them can afford to lose anything right now. Point 0.4 still the gap. But nothing going now. Kiko Gallo has dropped off the back. So is Glayram. He's had an invalid lap, so he's had a clunky time through the chicane. So now the only battle live on track in the top 5 at the moment is Van Thalen versus Fran Garcia. So we are going to keep on board with this for now. Last time, Fran Garcia just a little bit faster than Van Thalen. Point 0.3 is the gap. Fran Garcia may be making a little bit of a mistake. That time out, Kiko Gallo is back within 0.6 now of Callum Jones, who's also made a mistake. Point 0.2. Van Thalen thinks about the move. He goes for it into the hairpin. He's managed to get it stopped on the apex, but Fran Garcia comes back at him. The fight is now on for P1. Van Thalen's going to have the inside line for the next hairpin. He's going to have the better line, but Fran Garcia maybe thinking about the duck and weave. He hits Van Thalen. He's going to have to let Van Thalen have the position. He does. Van Thalen, brilliant defence there, parking it on the apex. Absolutely masterful defence from Van Thalen there once he was ahead. A little bit of damage now for Van Thalen and a little bit for Fran Garcia on the front end. Kiko Gallo is only 0.3 behind Callum Jones now, so we're going to be watching this battle as well as Sergei Krasnov goes for a move on George Stevens. It's not going to happen this time. Can't get past the number 100 Honda NSX Evo machine. Point 0.4 the gap at the front, 0.5 the gap at the front. Fran Garcia, maybe his car not so much set up for following cars. Battles are raging for the final podium spot. Nathaniel Fever getting involved, Eric Glayram getting involved in the 116 car as well, Kiko Gallo involved, and Callum Jones, the man who currently holds it. That final podium position that everyone behind him is looking for. How much longer will he be able to hold it? We don't know as of yet. But he is searching, believe me, he is searching. And penalties are now being applied. 25 seconds goes on the clock. And Elias Fernando is the first man to box in the top group, in the top 10. He's the first man to come into the pit lane. 25 seconds given to Harold Rombout for the various collisions that he's been involved in today. We'll find out at length what all of these are for. Fran Garcia's gotten back ahead of Van Thalen. I've missed that in amongst all of the in amongst the penalties being given out. I'm sure we can rewind and have a second play. Van Thalen must have made a mistake, and Garcia up the inside into the double apex. Right-hander manages to get ahead and stays ahead for now. We'll wait and see as Van Thalen is maybe thinking about making a comeback. They are side by side right now. Van Thalen's ahead. Fran Garcia's ahead. Van Thalen is behind, but again has the inside line for the hairpin. Fran Garcia moves to cover him off. Doesn't manage to do so. Van Thalen is alongside, should be left the room. He is by Fran Garcia. Van Thalen gets the better exit. They get immensely close there. Van Thalen is going to cross the line ahead this time, but Fran Garcia is now back ahead again into turn one. Fran Garcia has the inside line. Van Thalen looking for the switchback down to the Craner curves and the old hairpin. He's got the better run, but the old hairpin is not a popular overtaking zone in these GT3 cars, or indeed in any car that you can race around this brilliant Donington Park circuit. And these guys are just dueling it out. Fran Garcia goes off track. That could be massive. Van Thalen maybe now looks to the inside at the next right-hander, but Fran Garcia covers that off. They are getting so close right now. Hundredths of a second separating these two cars right now. Van Thalen looks to the inside for the double right-hander. Fran Garcia is forced to leave him the room. Nothing going there for Van Thalen this time around, but he now has the run down the back straight with the toe. The man ahead of them is lap traffic. I'm not sure who it is. It's the number 23 car. Is that Elias Fernando? It is. It is ahead of them, so he's lost almost a lap in the pits as Van Thalen sends it down the inside into the hairpin. But that means that Fran Garcia is going to have the better inside line for the final hairpin. Van Thalen brakes late. Garcia brakes later. Too late. Van Thalen sends it back up the inside and shuts Garcia out on the exit. Beautiful racing from these two right now as Callum Jones is the next person to call it and come into the pit lane. Garcia to the outside of turn one. He's not going to have anything going there. He's going to try the switchback that Van Thalen has tried the last few laps down towards the old hairpin, but I don't think there's going to be going anything there at the moment either. And oh my days, is this the gift that keeps on giving with this race. We've still got half an hour to go. Callum Jones is in the pits. Nathaniel Fever is looking to make a move on Eric Glayram after being overtaken by him in the early stages. That's a lie. Eric Glayram has gotten past Nathaniel Fever. I've completely missed that in amongst all of this top 2 battling that's been going on. Fran Garcia now half a second behind, but I'm sure he will be back to continue fighting with these two at the front before too much longer. Nathaniel Fever looking for a way back past Eric Glayram, but at the moment it's not going to happen for him. Where does Callum Jones come out compared to Elias Fernando? That is going to be the metric. Callum Jones is already out the pit lane, and Elias Fernando is well away. Elias Fernando involved in those incidents early on, but he's lost a lot of time now in between those between those incidents and the earlier pit stop. He has lost a lot. I'm going to take another short drinks break because, oh my days, as I'm sure you can hear, there's just more and more air in my voice rather than vocal cords in my voice. Three tenths again, the gap. Two tenths for Nathaniel Fever and Eric Glayram in the number 74 and the 116 car respectively. But this is the lead battle that has been raging all race. When I jokingly said in the driver's briefing, give me some good battles for the stream, I was not expecting to have a half-hour long fight for the lead that just isn't going to give up yet. Who bites the bullet first and pits? Do they take the track position? Do they go for an overcut? Do they go for an undercut? Do they pit at the same time? When one of them boxes, are they going to lose time because they aren't holding the other up with dirty air and attempted manoeuvres? I mean, there is so much going into this. I think Van Thalen has to try and stay out longer, but if he doesn't have the fuel to, he doesn't have the fuel to. He's going to have to run as long as he can to keep Garcia behind. Nathaniel Fever went for a move. It didn't come off. He's gone deep at the second to last hairpin, and he's now 0.6 behind the car in front. Fran Garcia looking for a better exit. Doesn't get it this time. Both of those cars stay out at the moment. 32 minutes and 15 seconds left to go as it stands right now, ladies and gentlemen. Less than halfway into the race, and this battle has been raging hot for the last 28 minutes, and it isn't destined to give up yet. Fran Garcia a 10th behind. Into the next right-hander. Does he look for something? Into the old hairpin. Not this time. Down the crane of curves. He was close, but not enough of an overlap. 2/10. The gap constantly growing and expanding as each of them has a better run out of that corner and a worse run out of that corner, and then gets the slipstream down the straight. You never know which way this is going to go. Fran Garcia shows himself in the mirrors of Van Thalen. Van Thalen will know that he's there, believe me. Van Thalen gets the better run onto the straight though. Garcia not going to be able to make any attempts here. I know that the front of that McLaren looks incredibly broken, but I promise you it isn't. The front of that McLaren is very much alive and well. That is just a game thing at the moment, unfortunately. Nathaniel Fever has fallen off the back of Eric Glayram, who's now been released to try and catch up to the back of Kiko Gallo. 2/10 is the gap. I think Garcia went for it. Van Thalen left in the room, but did not fall for the attempted move at the hairpin. And Van Thalen is now concrete ahead, although he looks like he might be. No, neither of them again come to the pit this lap. Thel gets ahead of Esposito, and that is because Esposito immediately gets back ahead, clearly gone off track. Van Thalen and Fran Garcia separated by a 1/10 of a second over the line there, ladies and gentlemen. That is incredible. And they're being caught at the moment by Kiko Gallo. They're fighting so hard. They've got to watch out behind. Can't be long until they're thinking about pitting. The question is, if one of them has planned to go longer on fuel, they will be lighter and faster at the end. Van Thalen didn't have a great run out of the old hairpin. Fran Garcia thinking about a move possibly into the right-hander. Not this time. Maybe into the next one, the double apex right-hander. This has been a hot spot for attempted moves in this battle so far. Nothing going. Van Thalen covers it off early. It means he'll have a slightly worse run onto the back straight. Fran Garcia, maybe. He might sniff an opportunity coming towards the chicane. He shows himself to the inside. Van Thalen doesn't react to it. He knows that Garcia isn't going to go for a move there. It is not a place where you can make an overtake, but maybe into the penultimate hairpin. Garcia looks to the outside. Van Thalen will park it on the apex. He will not let Fran Garcia get the up and under. He doesn't. Van Thalen stays ahead for now, but he's got to continue to cover off that inside because Fran Garcia will switch back to the inside the moment he gets an opportunity. Van Thalen will park it on this apex. He does not want Fran Garcia getting a better exit than him, but at the moment it looks like Garcia has. Maybe down towards turn one as Kiko Gallo in the background comes into the pit lane. He's the first man in the top three to pit. Fran Garcia looking to the inside as a lapped car comes out of the pit lane directly ahead of these guys. He needs to get out of the way as quickly as possible. Abita does exactly that. Thank you to you. Van Thalen still ahead in this battle at the moment. Where does Kiko Gallo come out compared to Callum Jones? That is going to be the metric that we want. Callum Jones at the moment just coming into sector 3 as Kiko Gallo just stops to start his 30-second stationary time. This will be close coming out the pit lane, but I really do not want to take my eyes off of this wonderful battle that we've got for P1 at the moment. 3/10 is the gap now. And Kiko Gallo, when does he start moving? I'll be able to see it when he does. He's not yet. Still not moving. Callum Jones coming around the final corner. Kiko Gallo is moving now, and I think he's going to be ahead. Oh, the RART car needs to get out of the way. He's not done that very well, but Van Thalen has managed to make the best of a sticky situation and stays ahead of Garcia for now. Callum Jones is being hassled right now in the 48 Bentley. That's a lap car actually that's behind him. He now needs to chase down Kiko Gallo. Van Thalen goes deep at the final hairpin. Fran Garcia goes to the inside, and Fran Garcia is the first man to box. That could be massive. Fran Garcia needs to have the outlap of his life. And, well, to put it quite simply, Van Thalen needs to have the lap of his life here. He needs to be absolutely on it until he boxes now. Whether it's 1 lap, 2 lap, 3 laps, 5 laps, he needs to pump out qualifying laps from now until then to make sure that he can stay ahead. As Gleyram is now P2, he's still got to box. Fell is P3, he still has to box. Braxted is still going to need to box as well. In fact, the first man on track that has boxed is Kiko Gallo, and he's managed to come out ahead of Callum Jones and Elias Fernando. So at the moment, Kiko Gallo is inheriting that 3rd place on the podium. How far does Fran Garcia come out ahead? He's moving now. Kiko Gallo coming out the final corner now. This could be closer than it was. It's going to be closer than it was. In fact, Kiko Gallo might be close enough for a move here. This could scupper Garcia's chances if Kiko Gallo can get close enough. Clearly, the overcut is the move here. The undercut even is the move here. Kiko Gallo has closed that gap from almost 3 seconds when he boxed to just a second as they come down the Craner curves. For what would be P2, net P2, that gap is now 1 second. Fran Garcia still needs to get temperature into his tyres. Van Thalen boxes. I thought that was coming. The undercut has proven to be the better strategy for Van Thalen. He could have done with coming in earlier. Will Kiko Gallo be able to hassle Fran Garcia enough? I don't think he will. We've had more penalties coming in. 15 seconds for Donkervold, 15 seconds for Bertie Torfs, but no one in this front battle has picked up a penalty so far. 9/10 separates Kiko Gallo and Fran Garcia. Van Thalen is in the pit lane. He's not moving yet. He's going to need to be moving in the next 5 seconds or so. When does he start moving? Kiko Gallo is close to Fran Garcia, but it's not enough at the moment. They've got the 570 car in front of them, who might cause them a little bit of trouble. Van Thalen is on the move now. This is going to be close. I think he's going to be able to stay ahead of them. It's the number 223 car that we are looking for relative to the number 214 car, and the 214 car is out right in the middle of the battle. He comes out in 2nd overall, and this is now 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Net 1st, 2nd and 3rd, separated by just 5/10 on track. Van Thalen is immediately up the inside of Fran Garcia towards the old hairpin. There surely is going to be a move on there for Van Thalen. He's thinking about it. He's certainly thinking about it, and he's made it work. Van Thalen up the inside at the old hairpin, but Garcia has managed to get the switch back and is making it work now for him towards the next right-hander. They've got Kiko Gallo right behind them. This is the top 3 on pit stop cycles, all together on track now, with Callum Jones just behind them. If these guys fight too hard, we're going to have a 4-way battle coming with just 24 minutes left of this race. And this race has just come back to life. It's all sparked up again immediately. That McLaren needs to stay out of the way of all of these cars as best as he can. He tries his best, but he's interrupted Kiko Gallo there. Only the guys at the top still have pit stops to make. Gleyram and Braxted. There goes Callum Jones. He's thinking about a move around the outside. Van Thalen's thinking of a move around the outside of Fran Garcia. That one's not going to come off. And neither is Callum Jones's move around the outside of Kiko Gallo in the 444 machine at the moment. Gleyram might have a chance here with how much these guys have been battling. Can he gain a little bit of time? I don't think he's going to be able to. He needs to be moving now. He starts moving. Here we go. This is going to be interesting to see. How far does he come out behind these battles? I don't think he's going to come out that far behind them at all. There's Gleyram, and there's the battle that he was involved in. Kiko Gallo and Callum Jones, and he's come out directly behind them. So this is now the top 5 on track, separated by just about 3 seconds. Van Thalen is going to have to find another way past Fran Garcia. He's going to have a slightly lighter fuel load, so he will be just that little bit faster. His tyres, that lap fresher. But how much can he muster from that Lamborghini Evo 2 package? These guys catching up to Samuel Braxton very quickly at the moment. The only car left to pit, Samuel Braxton. He is still running the number 75 machine. Does he pit this lap? I expect he will. Van Thalen, half a second behind Fran Garcia as it stands. The number 75 car does pit this lap, and that is going to release Fran Garcia into the lead of this race. Van Thalen only just behind him. Fran Garcia a little bit wobbly on the exit of the final hairpin there that time, but Van Thalen isn't going to be close enough, and this is now the official running order for the race. It is Fran Garcia, Van Thalen, Kiko Gallo, Callum Jones, Eric Glayram, and then Nathaniel Fever in the Phoenix E-Racing car. The number 74 is still in P6. He wasn't able to make any sort of dent, even with an undercut in the pit strategy. Van Thalen still half a second behind. That lap he was about a tenth slower than Garcia in front, but he was still getting his tyres into the window. Now the battle will start raging again, I would expect. And I mean, yeah, this race, it has had everything and more, and now it is somehow about to get even crazier. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching right now, don't go anywhere, because there is still so much more for this race to offer, and there will be so much more that it gives. 3 tenths now separating the top 2 drivers on track. 4 tenths separating the battle for the final podium spot between Callum Jones and Kiko Gallo. Van Thalen looking for a better run through the penultimate hairpin. It's not come his way this time. 3 tenths still the gap. 4 tenths now into the final hairpin. Fran Garcia goes a little bit deeper. Van Thalen takes the tighter line that he's been using the whole race so far. 3 tenths is the gap. Across the line, the gap is 0.375 of a second. That lap, Van Thalen was a tenth faster. Still 0.4 is the gap. They've got lap traffic not that far ahead. The number 15 car, that is Harold Rombout, currently in P17. I'll want to try and keep an eye on other battles that are happening on track, but this is so vital. Nothing going that time for Van Thalen, but into the penultimate hairpin. He's made the move here before. He goes for it again. Fran Garcia will look for a better exit, but it's not going to come to him this time. Van Thalen forces him to the edge of the track, but there is room left. Fran Garcia is now going to try and go to the inside. Not this time. Van Thalen stays on a bit of a wider line to cover off that Fran Garcia undercut, and it's worked for him this time. Across the line, Van Thalen holds the lead. Three tenths is the gap separating these two guys right now. Four tenths is the gap. Van Thalen looking just faster at the moment. Three tenths the gap now as Eric Glayram manages to rejoin that battle for P3. Callum Jones falling off the back of Kiko Gallo a little bit this time round. Van Thalen goes deep. Van Thalen goes very deep. This is an opening for Fran Garcia. It's going to be a drag race down towards turn one. Fran Garcia is just edging ahead. The 214 car has the inside line, but I think he's going to have to tuck behind. No, he sends it into turn one. Fran Garcia will try and hold it around the outside. I think he's going to be able to this time. There is... Oh, they're so close. Down the crane of curves, I think Van Thalen will stay ahead in the 214 car. Indeed he does. That mistake at the final hairpin almost costing him the lead there. Still 18 minutes to go in this race. And it is all to play for at the front. Oh, Fran Garcia massively into the grass there. I don't know how he's managed to keep that going in a straight line. Masterful car control there. .6 is the gap now. Fran Garcia losing more time since that off. .5 the gap. Eric Glayram looking for a move on Callum Jones. That one's not going this time. For what would be P4 on track. All of these battles are now for track position. All of them are now for track position. There is no one left to make a pit stop. Every overtake, every mistake is going to be crucial to the final finishing position of these cars. Last time round, Van Thalen half a second faster than Fran Garcia. Garcia still not able to close that 5/10 gap now this time. The gap still sitting at 0.5 of a second, 0.4 now. It's closing a little bit. Back to 0.5 again. Fran Garcia just not able to close in as it stands. Just not able to find anything more as Fran Garcia at the moment. And the lap times this time round are almost equal. 26.842 for Van Thalen, who's taken the fastest lap with a 26.465. And Fran Garcia set a 1:26.875 that last lap. So the lap times separated by just 0.03 of a second. 15 minutes left to go in this one. Sits at 0.5 still. Eric Glayram in the 116 car. Back with the 48 Bentley. And chat, I do apologise. I'm just going to take a second. I just need to top up my water, but I will be back. I don't want to miss anything, but I really need something to drink. So just give me a couple of seconds. I promise I'll be back as quick as I can. There we go. Thankfully, I've not missed too much. The pit window is now closed. But I haven't missed... I don't think I've missed anything, actually. The gap still... The gap's still 0.4 of a second, I believe. Indeed it is. That lap, Fran Garcia a little bit slower. Glayram still trying to get past Callum Jones. Elias Fernando still trying to get past. Esposito. .5 the gap, Rombout in front. Could cause some problems here for Van Thalen. I don't think he will. He would know better than to do so. Van Thalen is cooking, absolutely. The 223 car, yeah, I know. The 223 car for some reason has massive damage on my screen, I don't know why. And it was JJ Doyley who subscribed. Thank you so much for that, JJ. Van Thalen cooking, absolutely, Pinchella. I don't know how long ago these messages were sent, but thank you everyone for being here. Can we try and bump up that like count a little bit towards the end of this stream? Just 8 minutes to go in the race. Let's see if we can get maybe to 12 likes before the end of the stream would be brilliant, ladies and gentlemen. Start hitting that like button if you're loving what you're seeing here this evening. This brilliant battle at the front surely deserves a like. Garcia and Van Thalen have been going at it now for 43 minutes and they show no signs of slowing down. The gap is 0.1. Fran Garcia now in the last 7 minutes looking for a winning move. Dongovolk has gone around the number 51 car out of the old hairpin. Glayram looking for a P4 move on Callum Jones. Is this where it comes? Into the double right-hander. It's been a favourite hot spot today. And indeed, that is where the move comes. Eric Glayram manages to sit on the apex perfectly and gets past Callum Jones. He's been trying to do that for a few laps now. And now Callum Jones is going to have to watch out behind as Nathaniel Fever in the Phoenix E-Racing car, the number 74 machine, moves up to the back of him as well. With just 7 minutes to go in this race, we've still got battles alive and well up and down the grid. 0.3 is the gap. Fran Garcia looks for a better exit. He gets it. The gap is 0.2. Across the line, the gap is 0.232 of a second. That is nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is mental. This is the most prolonged... Glayram has to pit. Glayram pits. He didn't have enough fuel to get to the end of the race. That promotes Callum Jones again. And Nathaniel Fever up to P5. Glayram, not enough fuel to get to the end of the race. Or was it a drive-through? No, Glayram picked up a drive-through for track limits and has had to serve it immediately. He'll come out just ahead of Thel, but drops 2 positions from where he was. Nathaniel Fever in the Phoenix E-Racing, the lead Phoenix E-Racing car. Now looking to get past Callum Jones in the Boatley. Our favourite cute GT3, the Boatley. Five minutes to go. Nathaniel Fever is going to have to try something here. Something dicey, something risky, something bold. The same can be said for Fran Garcia. How long does he hold off on making a move? It can't be long. He's got to be thinking about making a move sometime shortly. Does he wait for the final lap? Does he wait for the penultimate lap? Does he make it now? Fran Garcia, thinking all of these things through. He qualified on pole. He led a lot of the first half of this race until Van Thalen got past him. Van Thelen since then has led the race, although he did trade with Garcia after the pit stops. Kiko Gallo momentarily involved in this battle, as was Callum Jones in the opening exchange for the first 10 minutes or so. But these two drivers, Van Thelen and Garcia, have shown undeniable pace today. Stretching their legs ahead of the rest of the field. Their overall fastest laps might not be much faster than those around them, but their race pace consistency is absolutely stunning. Here we go, Van Thelen fakes the defence to the inside, forces Garcia to think about going the long way. Fran Garcia buys it, goes deep at the penultimate hairpin. The gap now 0.4 of a second, 4 minutes to go. 4 minutes on the clock. We will get another 3 laps of racing. 3 laps, that is all we're going to get here, ladies and gentlemen. 3 laps for Fran Garcia to make a move. 3 laps for Van Thelen to defend more than he ever has before. After coming P2 in the 10 hours of Suzuka, not winning a race since then, this is what Van Thelen is looking for, to be back on that top step of the podium. Fran Garcia looking to take one of his first wins, if not his first ever win, in TOGA Motorsport here in the Winter Cup in the 223 McLaren. The question is, who can prevail? Who is going to take the checker flag? We'll find out in about 3.5 minutes time, and I'm sure it's going to be filled with some intense battling. Fran Garcia thinking about the move on the outside into this right-hander. Nothing going at the moment. Van Thelen takes a slightly wider line, gets a slightly better exit. Fran Garcia having to stick behind for now. We've got lap traffic in the form of George Stevens. I'm sure he'll be getting out of the way nice and promptly. He will not want to get involved. He will not want to mess up this massive battle at the front. What happened to the bonnet of the McLaren? That for some reason it has been like that since he had an early crash in free practice. The bonnet, I promise you, is fine. The McLaren does not have any damage. It is just a glitch in my game. The McLaren is completely fine. George Stevens, he's going to have to be thinking about getting out of the way of these guys now. I expect he will. George Stevens, he is under blue flags, and he does get out of the way. He stays right to the outside. Van Thelen, Fran Garcia though he's had a slightly compromised line as Fran Garcia, but nothing more George Stevens could do there. He couldn't slow down anymore. Sylvana Moore in the other Phoenix E-Racing car, the 695, has managed to get past. Oh, a beater, and there's a collision there. In the final minutes, after such a clean race, those two come together. Hold your brakes, Sylvain. Oh, that's massively unlucky for him. Loses a position to a beater. Thankfully, no one close behind to gain. But Fran Garcia now, with 2 minutes left to go, has a lot to find. He's 3 tenths behind now. There is more lap traffic here to play. I believe it's the 317 car, the Puntos RART machine. He's going to need to be getting out of the way sooner rather than later, and I think he might be taking care of that himself, as he looked very close to track limits through there. Does he get out of the way before this chicane or after it? These minute differences in when he moves could make a massive difference. Nathaniel Fever looking up the inside of Callum Jones. Nothing going for him this time, although he does have the better run down the straight towards the chicane, but being on the outside there has never worked out particularly well. The RART car of Puntos gets out of the way. Van Thelen defends into the final hairpin. There's going to be one more lap here, ladies and gentlemen. Nathaniel Fever not able to make that move work around the outside of the chicane, but both of them did survive. Van Thelen rounds the final hairpin for the penultimate time. The leader takes the white flag this lap. 1 lap left to go. Fran Garcia looking for glory. Van Thelen looking to justify the loss in the Suzuka 10 hours. Fran Garcia closes in so much through turn 1. Now we go down the Craner curves towards the old hairpin. We're going to stay on board with these guys the whole lap. They've got no traffic in front of them for almost a whole sector. It is down to pure pace. Who makes it to the end? Do either of them make a big enough mistake for it to go wrong? It's 0.1. It's 0.0. Oh, Van Thelen, they come together on the final lap. Van Thelen goes off. Fran Garcia. Does he let Van Thelen have the position? No, he doesn't. Fran Garcia goes ahead. He's going to take the win here now. Van Thelen can't do anything. He's a second behind. Van Thelen squeezed Fran Garcia on the final lap. And I think Fran Garcia is going to take it here. How much damage has that given the McLaren? I don't think it's going to have been enough. Van Thelen, 0.5 of a second. He is not a happy man. Van Thalen sending it through these final corners. And Fran Garcia does give the position back. Maybe he felt he wasn't far enough alongside to deserve any racing room. And Fran Garcia has to avoid the RART car. What is he doing? Is that a battle there? It is. George Stevens battling as well, and they've just completely scuppered the lead fight. What are they doing? Both of you are under blue flags on the final lap. There was contact. Van Thalen went off. Fran Garcia gave him the position back and then had his only chance scuppered by back markers. Van Thalen crosses the line first. Garcia is second. Kika Gallo is going to cross the line third. And a respectable race from Callum Jones to come home in fourth overall. Nathaniel Feather comes home fifth, with Eric Glayram still fighting it out with Jonathan Thell for P6 and P7 respectively. I think Eric Glayram is going to come out on top in that particular battle in the 116 car. Disappointing for him, have to make an extra pit stop towards the end. And what on earth was that final lap? I've never seen anything like it. Jonathan Thell crosses the line P7. P8 is going to be Marco Esposito. And then Elias Fernando in P9. Onda Zabita is going to cross the line P10. Bjorkman is going to be P11. Although Brackstad is looking for a move maybe in the GT Performance, on the GT Performance car of Bjorkman. In towards the final corner, I don't think there's going to be anything going for Brackstad. He looks to the inside. There's a little bit of contact. I expect to let Glayram have it. Glayram has the better... Bjorkman, sorry, has the better run to the line anyway. Bjorkman takes 11th. Braxton 12th. Amore 13th. Stevens 14th. 15th is Rombout. 16th is Torth. 17th is Hurst. 18th is Martins. And 19th is Longanane. But people have already left the session. So those are not the final standings because people have dipped in and out along the way. But oh my days, ladies and gentlemen, what an insane race. I don't think I've ever spoken more in my life. That was absolutely... I mean, it was just insane. Just insane. Just trying to get some people together for interviews now. But I can't even remember who else was at the top of that. I've been saying their names a million times, but cannot remember. I'm so hyped right now that it is... Glayram, yeah. Picking up the drive-through for track limits, dropping him down the order. He was not happy with that. He's making his displeasure heard in the Winter Cup chat. And actually, let's have a proper run-through of the final order because I don't think I managed to get it all. I'm just trying to get people to the interview waiting room. Here we go. We should have people coming now to the interview waiting room to be interviewed. Indeed we do.
Go, go, go.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are now going to move over to our interview screen. As, I mean, oh my days. That was just crazy. I mean, what a race. And ladies and gentlemen, the first man that we are going to be talking to, is also the man who finished first on track. Jentel Van Thalen in the Jentel Drive 214 Lamborghini finally takes a win after it being snatched from him in the Suzuka 10-hour endurance race. I mean, how does that feel for you, man? That was a crazy, crazy race.
It was really a crazy race, yeah. It's nice to take the win home eventually after that little drama in the endurance. But yeah, it was a nice race. Really close battle with Garcia. He had really, really good pace in the McLaren. Yeah, just managed to use the Lambo his brakes a bit better, I guess. And yeah, could make a move, so really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the contact on the final lap, if you watch the stream back, I was like screaming my lungs off when it happened. I was just so astounded, and clearly Fran Garcia felt that he was majority at fault there, let you have the position back. I mean, it's always brilliant to see sportsmanship like that, especially after a battle that had literally been going on for the whole 60 minutes. I mean, I can't even imagine how much you must be sweating right now.
Yeah, it was quite a sweaty race. Yeah, really nice that he gave the position back indeed. Because I don't really know who was at fault. I squeezed him just enough for my feeling, but yeah, I haven't watched the replay yet, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, the pit stops didn't go your way. The undercut turned out to be the better strategy, and you came out right in the midst of a battle with who at the time were the top 3 cars on strategy. I mean, at that point in your mind, you must have been thinking, surely something is going to go wrong. You know, all 3 of us are on track. It's me, Kika Gallo, and Fran Garcia, 3 guys who are insanely quick, all determined to win. And I mean, those few laps where you were all together must have been some of the most intense of the race.
Yeah, it was for sure the most intense race. It was really crazy, the battle, because I came out on cold tires, so it was always a bit tricky to try to make a move. But yeah, I chose to do the overcut, and I think it worked out in the end because my tires were a little bit better, I guess, in the middle of the stint. But yeah,
and a little bit less wear
quite
because of the
okay.
lower fuel as well when you started.
Yeah, indeed. So
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah.
think the gamble worked out. So
I mean, realistically, we've seen some crazy battles, and I know I said in the driver briefing before we got started, give me some good battles to show on stream today. But man, I was not expecting the battles to be quite that mental. I mean, it was just crazy. It was just crazy to see you guys at the top and the battles for the podium. They were just raging all race long, all race long. It's the first time I've ever seen it like that, and it was brilliant. And I mean, for you, it must have been a real joy to be able to drive like that as well. So confident that those around you weren't gonna cause any contact and that you could race side by side.
yeah, indeed, like I said in the beginning, it was a really nice battle with Garcia, and I didn't expect it either to during the whole race. It was just a crazy battle. I will think, yeah, we will boss each other a couple of times, and then the one will drive away from each other. But our pace was just so similar, we couldn't get away from each other. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
really GG to him.
Looking forward now, there's only one race left on the calendar, and it is at Bathurst, well renowned for being the hardest track in the game. Do you think that's another track where you and your Lamborghini are going to be a strong contender?
I guess it's gonna be the same battle again between the Lambo of me and the McLaren of Garcia, because the McLaren is also pretty good there, I know. But yeah, I like the track. It's actually my favorite track in the game, so I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's a race where realistically you can seal the championship. I'm not sure if you've managed to score enough points to do it tonight. I don't think you have. But the
I
championship
don't
could
think so
well
either.
go your way at Bathurst. So I do wish you the best, and I'm sure I'll see you again in this commentary box at the end of next Sunday after the race at Bathurst.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just a massive congratulations. Thanks a lot. Have a good rest of your night, mate.
Thank you. You too.
And now we are going to talk to the man who ended up coming P3 after what must have been one of the most intense races of the Winter Cup series so far. I mean, Kiko, how was that for you in that Triple Four McLaren?
Hello, guys. It's been a beautiful battle between the Lambo and my mate Fran Garcia. Definitely, they were rocking with the rhythm, with the piece. They have a very good piece. And I was watching with one. I was trying to do some undercut with the medley, but he just entered and he pointed very good with the indicator. He was going to beat that lap. I had feel for about 3 more laps. I had a decent pace, 27s. Oh, I'd say okay. Let's go for it and finish the dunk. It was very beautiful and nice battle. I was having a chat via voice with my friend Fran, and he was impressed with the rhythm of Jen and his battle with him. He just he's not very good English speaker, so he told me send he's apologized to him, to Jen, because he made a mistake. He touched him, and he just wait for him and the last lap because he was
Yeah,
his
yeah,
mistake.
I saw
Okay.
that. He gave the position back. It was brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant
yeah,
sportsmanship.
yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
whilst you were thinking about the undercut on the Bentley, you accidentally undercut the leaders by about 3 seconds. How crazy was it for you when the leaders came out the pit lane and you were just in the midst of that battle, having been 3 seconds down the road behind them before the pit stop cycle?
Yeah, to be honest, my pit was almost perfect. I earned a couple of seconds, and I saw the lap of going out that I was saying, okay, I can be in front of him. But look, they were in their battle. I just wanted them to hit up the tires and get the rhythm again, because the Bentley was coming. The Bentley
Yeah,
was.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Callum Jones was not far behind. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you guys at the top were covered by. I think there was one point in time where the top 5 were covered by about 3 seconds after the pit stops, and I was just thinking,
Yeah.
this is insane. I've never seen battling like this in a TOGA race before, and for you to be part of that must have been brilliant. Well, so Kiko, looking forward, we've got 1 race left in the season.
Drivers and from the community and from the season. Yeah, I had a very start season. In Paul Ricard, I had the DT because some guy was in front of him and suddenly disappeared. I got the DT. Okay, I take it. And in Brand Hats, I committed many mistakes. And okay, this race was very good for me. It was almost perfect. I'm very happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward. Just the 1
Looking
round
forward
left.
yeah, looking forward. I think I don't have any choices for sure in the championship, but I for sure will try to do my best on the next race
In
Mount
Bathurst.
Panorama, which is
Yes.
yeah, in Bathurst.
Do you
Yeah,
think
which
it's
is
a track? Is it a track that you're familiar with? A track that you feel that you've got good pace at, or is it one that maybe is a little bit of an Achilles heel for you?
I will wait for the week how it behaves, how the rhythm of the guys. During the race with half a tank, I would say that I'm 201s, 202s, something like that. Let's see. I have to practice.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to practice.
absolutely.
I love that track. I think it's the most exciting track in the game at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was an insane race, and it was brilliant to see you be part of it. And I wish you the best of luck for next week. Thanks a lot for joining me in the commentary box this evening, and have a good rest of your
Thank you very
night.
much, guys. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye
Have
bye.
a good one in a bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be everything here tonight on the TOGA Motorsports channel. I've been Ollie. Thank you so much for joining me here this evening for what has been probably the most mental race that I have ever commentated on, and that's including the craziness that was the Porsche Cup races. Thank you so much all for staying with me and being here tonight. Looking forward, next week we have got Friday night Porsche Cup for the final 2 races of the season at Brands Hatch, and then on Sunday night we have got the final round of the Winter Cup, which will be the last championship race of the year for TOGA Motorsports. It's going to be round 4 of the Winter Cup at Mount Panorama in southern Australia. It's going to be a crazy race. Make sure to tune in for both of those championships, both of those championship finales. They still have battles going on up and down the grid for championship positions, so make sure to be there. And thank you again so much all for being here tonight, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your evenings.